Do you really need a full-size SUV or crossover? This compact SUV seats 5 people, it's a lot more maneuverable, and gets better fuel mileage. Let's get inside the 2013 Volkswagen Tiguan and check the tech. This Tiguan is actually built on the VW Golf platform, but this is a compact SUV. It's 14.5 feet long, which is about the size of most compact and mid-sized cars. It's pretty easy to maneuver in the city given that size, and it also seats 5 people pretty comfortably because of this high roof line. Now, there's not a lot of cargo area in back, just a little over 23 cubic feet, but you put the rear seats down, and you can probably carry your weekend IKEA run back there. Now this is the SEL trim level, so it's the highest trim level, and something that Volkswagen has been doing a lot recently is these big panoramic sunroofs. This thing stretches all the way back over the rear compartment. It's a huge amount of space, and it also has this nice cover inside, so you can open up the top, but still filter out the sunlight with this cover and still get your fresh air. Now, you may have seen Brian Cooley complain about this head unit in the Volkswagen. He's not a fan of this interface, but I happen to like it. Volkswagen does this sort of semicircular menu structure. They have these icons here, and so you just got to twirl this knob around, select all the different menu options. This is showing the navigation, so I can choose address, intersection, different ways of entering addresses. I can also use this touch screen and pop any of these icons and bring up the different menus. Now, this navigation system comes standard in this SEL trim Tiguan, so you don't need to pay any extra for it. But this is kind of why I would drop down to a lower trim level, because I don't really like this navigation system so much. The map screen is pretty small. It doesn't have traffic, so it's pretty low tech as far as navigation systems go. And when you're under route guidance, the graphics aren't very explicit. They don't give you a lot of guidance on which way you need to go. Fortunately, and this is something Volkswagen's really good at, is they've got the center LCD in the instrument cluster. That'll show good route guidance directions. That'll actually show arrows and the street you need to turn on. So I'm usually referring to that when I want to follow a route instead of looking over here. Now, of course, there's also the digital audio sources on here, and we've got satellite radio. Strangely, no HD radio. We've got our digital media sources. This is one thing that Volkswagen does that they really got to get over this. They've got this crazy proprietary port down here in the console, and they've got this cable hanging off of it. This one has a 30-pin iPod connector, so if you have a modern iOS device, you have to plug in this little adapter, then you can plug in your iOS device, and boom, there you go. You can have music. I mean, they should really just have a USB port in the console, maybe 2 even, because a lot of cars are going that way now. As far as the stereo system goes, though, this is another problem I have with this car. I think this audio system sounds terrible. The bass and the mids are okay. They're what you'd expect in an economy car, compact car. But the highs are just terrible. I couldn't even listen to music on there. The highs are so bad. I actually turned down the treble to make it sound better. Now, fortunately, in the 2014 version of the Tiguan, Volkswagen's going to start offering its Fender audio system. And that's actually one of the best audio systems we've heard in a compact economy car. Now, of course, we also have a Bluetooth hands-free phone system, and this is pretty decent. You can get all your phone book and recent calls and stuff like that from the same kind of circular menu, the same kind of format as navigation and as the audio system. And of course, you also have voice command here. Now, voice command here only works for the phone system. It doesn't work for navigation. It doesn't work for the audio system. So again, it's kind of a limited phone system. Most of the cabin tech in the Tiguan, most of Volkswagen's cabin tech, is pretty basic. They're not pushing any boundaries here. They cover some good bases, but it's not the best stuff. Now, of course, we also have the one choice only automatic transmission here. This is a 6-speed automatic transmission. This is Volkswagen's Tiptronic system. It has the ability to manual shift, and it's got a sport mode, but it's not their DSG automated manual, which is kind of a nicer transmission. It's a decent transmission for what this car is, and frankly, I prefer driving around in sport mode most of the time because it gave this thing a little more oomph. TSI. That means turbo stratified injection in Volkswagen terms. That's basically direct injection with a turbocharger. That force feeds air into the thing, also gives it more boost. So we end up with 200 horsepower, 207 pound-feet of torque. Now this engine gets this car an EPA-rated 20 miles per gallon city, 26 miles per gallon highway. In real-world driving, I've been seeing low to mid-20s, so that's probably what you're going to get with this car. Behind the wheel, there are a couple things that I like about the Tiguan and a lot of things I don't. First of all, I do like the size of this car. You feel like you've got good maneuverability. It's easy to kind of jog between lanes or parking spaces or you know, turn around on city streets pretty easily. It's not bad. Also this steering, this is electric power steering boost, and at low speeds it feels kind of over boosted, so it's really easy to turn the wheel. At high speeds it actually firms up a bit, so you get a little more heft to the wheel and doesn't move around as easily. But now the things that I don't like about this car. The engine, I don't know, it should be enough. 200 horsepower, 207 pound-feet of torque, but it just doesn't seem to have the kind of oomph you want, especially if you accelerate. You got to wait a little bit, then it tries to charge forward. It does a pretty convincing job once it gets moving, but it takes a little while to go. The final thing that I'm just not crazy about the Tiguan is the ride quality. It's fine on smooth roads, but once you get on slightly rough roads, it just kind of goes all to hell. You can feel a lot of jarring, a lot of harshness. It really should be better, and I'm surprised it isn't, because this cabin has sort of a premium feel, and I don't know, going over rougher roads, it's just uncomfortable. The base model of the 2013 Volkswagen Tiguan goes for about $23,000. This SEL model goes for $37,130. That's pushing $40,000. Although you do get all the equipment. You get the navigation system, all the electronics, leather seating, and that big panoramic sunroof. I wouldn't buy this car. I'd wait for the 2014 Volkswagen Tiguan, which is going to be cheaper, and Volkswagen's going to offer it with the Fender audio system in the upper trim levels.